how many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome back in to the 5-minute debate. No Marco, so we got a special guest taking his place today. We got Rod over here, a DFS writer for 14P while the site exists, and then hopefully you'll be getting some DFS content from him on our YouTube channel in season as well. But what's going on, Rod? How you doing?
Not much. Sorry, you guys have to take a step down from Marco. I know that sitting in this seat is not, it's not him. I'm sorry, guys.
That's a step up, if as far as I'm concerned, just to be. I think that's what the people want.
Less Marco.
Yeah, I mean that's a win all around. It's a fan. He's not a fan favorite. Let me just put it that way. All right, guys. So if you came in today, you obviously seen the title here, but we are doing Jonathan Taylor versus Nick Chubb, but with a twist. Instead of dynasty, we're going straight redraft value. So we figure, NFL draft has passed us. We don't have to guess at landing spots for rookies. We know the situations. We can start, putting together rankings. And I figure, why not start off big here? Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb. Rod, I'm going to start the timer here. Why don't you kick us off?
All right. So ADP wise, these guys are very, very close. I mean, they're going off one after the other. And depending on which ranking you're looking at, it's either Chubb and Taylor, Taylor and Chubb. It's really, really close, especially in the PPR rankings. But here's the thing. Give me Chubb. All right. Because I'm telling you right now that I like Nick Chubb's situation better than I like Jonathan Taylor's. We don't even know anymore what the team's going to look like. The Colts, that is, with Taylor in there, because now with Carson Wentz, they may want to throw the ball more. But Chubb, we know, is going to at least be in his timeshare. We know the timeshare. We know the situation. We're comfortable with where he's at. And week in and week out, he can produce. He was ranked 11th in PPR and 9th in standard last season. In 12 games, he had
unbelievable
7 yards, right? And 5.62 yards a carry. I mean, the guy we know he can produce, and he can win you weeks, which is exactly what you want in a redraft. You're not looking for dynasty value past next season. You just want people to win you weeks, and you know that Chubb can win you more weeks than he'll lose you. Whereas last year, Taylor lost a few more weeks than he won.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not wrong there. And there is definitely risk. If you didn't guess, I'm on Jonathan Taylor. There is definitely risk with Jonathan Taylor. You have to admit it. But I think, we saw it towards the end of the season. He closed out the season, 5 straight games, just on an absolute tear. And yes, the schedule was easy. But what I wanted to see was he was seeing, almost 60% of the snaps. And to me, that is the biggest indicator that they are, they have given him the keys to the offense as far as that backfield goes. Throughout the season, obviously, the workload was up and down. But just in the games he played 50% of snaps, he was on pace to be the RB4 for the season. He was averaging 21.6 points a game. So it's not a matter of talent with him. It's just workload. And, I really think he is primed to be a 65 to 70% snap share guy this season.
Well, what I see too is I see that there's a lot more mouths to feed actually in Indianapolis than there is in Cleveland, where Nick Chubb has one guy that's nipping at his heels, and that's Kareem Hunt. Obviously, it's a big guy nipping at his heels.
I'd say he's better than Hines and Mack. I will say that.
Yeah, but you've got Hines and Mack that come on the field for different packages. So Taylor, you're right. When he's on the field, he's a monster, but he's got to get on the field and he's got to stay on the field. Whereas, Nick Chubb is that guy that Cleveland wants to feed the ball, because look, even with Kareem Hunt biting into his carries, it's not really a significant amount. If you saw, especially in the back half of the season, when Kareem Hunt started to dip into single-digit carries. So, Chubb's got more of, at least he's going to stay on the field for longer.
Yeah, and again, that is always the risk with Jonathan Taylor here is, does Marlon Mack come back and take a lot of work? I don't really think he does, especially coming off the Achilles injury. That's the big thing. If it was just a regular ankle injury that held him out, I'd be much more concerned with Marlon Mack. But I just don't think he's going to end up taking enough work to really make it matter. And and just to address some of the past concerns, because Phillip Rivers is leaving. That is never a good thing if you're a receiving running back or a running back that wants to catch a lot of passes. But they did bring in Carson Wentz, who still targets the running back a good amount. Over the 25 games he played with Miles Sanders, the 16 game target pace, looking at 65 targets a season to the lead back there. And yes, Nyheim Hines will take a lot of that work. But I mean, Jonathan Taylor could easily see another 40 to 45 targets just like he did last season. So I just think the difference in receiving work is such a huge differentiator for me, because Chubb, we all know he can catch the ball, but they don't throw him the ball that much. Only 2 games over 2 targets last season. It's just that worries me a little bit.
Well, and Jonathan Taylor wasn't really all that much of a step up in receiving wise. I mean, they're comparable numbers in receiving. So to me, I mean, the 39 targets that he had last season, that's great and all, but I don't know that, that's going to move the needle in a PPR, maybe a smidge, but I feel like especially in standard, I know that Chubb, to me, because last season or 2 seasons ago rather, you got to figure he was ranked way up in the top in the standard ranks. He was 6th in standard, and he was actually 8th in PPR without a full season of Hunt. So, even in a 50-50 split with Chubb, it's just, I know where Chubb's at, and in a redraft, it doesn't matter. I'm not looking for value past next season.
Yeah, I think that's going to get a lot of people, honestly, is a lot of people are going to see Jonathan Taylor and think a lot of fantasy players are playing Dynasty now. So the younger players are going to get skewed up. But I really do think Taylor finishes ahead. I got him at RB6 on the season. I got Chubb at RB8. So it's a close one, but that does it for us here. That is the 5-minute debate. And before we close out the episode, we did throw up a poll on Twitter to see where the people were at. We had 109 votes. 59% actually landed on Taylor, 41% Chubb. I have a feeling if we let that poll go a little bit longer, that gap is going to narrow. It really should be a 50-50 split. I don't think it's as cut and dry as some people want to make it. But hey, that's why you're listening to the 5-minute debate. Rod, why don't you remind the people where they can find all your work, where they can find you on Twitter, all that good stuff.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Find me on Instagram now at Hot Rod Sports. I'm getting fancy. Find my work up on 14P while it's still there. And for the bulk of my work, head over to the Sports Gambling Podcast website at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. I got NASCAR, I got college football, I got NFL, I got all kinds of stuff up there.
Got it all.
I do. I got ADD, so.
Yeah, why not? All right, everybody. That does it for us here, and we will see you next time.